Let's take a look at how to subtract polynomials. Suppose that I want to subtract 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x minus 5 from 8x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 4. And when it says to subtract something from something, the second thing here comes first, and then we're going to do minus the first thing. So for method 1, that's where we can write everything in a row. So I'm going to write the first polynomial, so that would be 8x cubed, remember, is going to come first, and then we're going to subtract that. Minus 2x squared minus x plus 4, that comes first, and then minus the second polynomial, that'll be 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x minus 5. Now, since we're subtracting, before we do anything else, we should probably distribute this minus sign. So I'm going to rewrite this as 8x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 4, and now I'm going to distribute this minus sign. So it's going to be minus 2x cubed plus 6x squared minus 4x plus 5. Okay. And now I can look for like terms. So I'll start with this one right here, 8x cubed. Are there any other x cubed terms? There's one right here. Anything else? No. 8 minus 2 is 6, so that gives me 6x cubed. Next I have an x squared term, and I have another one here, and I think that's it. So I have a 6 here, I have a negative 2 here, that's going to give me positive 4x squared. Next I have an x term and an x term here, so I have minus 4x minus x, that's going to be minus 5x total. And finally I have a 4 and a 5, 4 plus 5 is 9. So that's method 1. Method 2 is where you write them vertically. And again, I have to make sure I do them in the right order, so I'm going to do this one on top. So that's 8x cubed minus 2x squared minus x plus 4, and then this is the one that goes underneath, and if I want to, I'm gonna just flip the sign of everything as I write it. So this will be now negative 2x cubed, and that'll become positive 6x squared, negative 4x, positive 5. And now I can add them like I would with just adding polynomials. 8 minus 2 is 6, so that's 6x cubed. Negative 2 plus 6, that's positive 4x squared. Negative 1 minus 4, that's going to be negative 5x. And 4 plus 5 is 9. And you see you get the same thing using either method. Okay, now let's try to subtract 2/5 x squared plus 1/3 x minus 7/8 from 7/10 x squared minus 1/2 x minus 5/6. So first, method 1, I'm going to write them in a row, and again I have to make sure I do them in the right order. So this one comes first, so that'll be 7/10 x squared minus 1/2 x minus 5/6, and then that whole thing minus, and now I write this one. So I have 2/5 x squared plus 1/3 x minus 7/8. And now I want to distribute this minus sign right here. So I'm going to have 7/10 x squared minus 1/2 x minus 5/6. And here's where I start to distribute. So this will be minus 2/5 x squared minus 1/3 x plus 7/8. And now I can look for like terms. So first I see an x squared term here and an x squared term here. And with fractions, I recommend actually doing the work with the fractions separately. So I'm going to do that up here. So I would, if you're doing this on paper, just do it on the side of the paper maybe, or somewhere else, so that you can see clearly what's going on. So I have 7/10 minus 2/5. Okay. I need a common denominator here, so a common denominator of 10 will work. And so I don't need to change the first one, but the second one, 5 times 2 is 10, so I have to multiply the top and bottom by 2 here, so 2 times 2 is 4. And then 7 minus 4 is 3, so I get 3/10. So that means this will be a 3/10 x squared term. Next I have an x term here and an x term here, so that's negative 1/2 minus 1/3. And again, I need to have a common denominator. In this case, it looks like it's going to be 6. And so 2 times 3 is 6, so I need a 3 up here. 3 times 2 is 6, so I need a 2 up here. Negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5, so this will be negative 5/6. So negative 5/6 x. Lastly, I have the constant terms here. I have a negative 5/6 plus a 7/8, negative 5/6 plus 7/8, and I need a common denominator here, and I could do 48, that would work, but I think there's a better one. I could do 24. 24 would be a smaller number to work with, so I'm going to do that instead. So 24 and 24. Okay. 6 times 4 is 24, 5 times 4 is 20. 8 times 3 is 24, 7 times 3 is 21, and I have now negative 20 plus 21, that's 1/24. So that means my last term here is going to be 1/24. Okay, method 2, that's where you write them vertically. So again, I have to write this one first, that has to go on top. 7/10 x squared minus 1/2 x minus 5/6. And now I'm going to write this one on the bottom. I'm going to flip all the signs. So this will become minus 2/5 x squared minus 1/3 x plus 7/8. And now I just add them like I normally would. And you're going to still have to do some work with fractions here. So I'm not going to redo it. All the work is right here. But you would do 7/10 minus 2/5, and you would get 3/10. So this would be 3/10 x squared minus 1/2 minus 1/3, or negative 1/2 minus 1/3 is negative 5/6. So this is negative 5/6 x. And then finally, we have negative 5/6 plus 7/8. That's 1/24. And so you see that using either method 1 or method 2 doesn't matter. You get the same thing both ways. I want to look at one more example. Now I want to subtract 2ab minus 5a squared b plus a squared minus 6b squared plus 3ab squared from 7a squared minus 6ab plus 2a squared b plus b squared minus 8ab squared. All right, this is a mouthful, but let's see. We'll start by doing method 1, where we write them in a row. And again, start with this one right here. So that would be 7a squared minus 6ab. Then I have plus 2a squared b plus b squared minus 8ab squared. Okay. And then minus, and now I have this one here. 2ab minus 5a squared b plus a squared minus 6b squared plus 3ab squared. All right, now I can distribute this minus sign. So I have a 7a squared minus 6ab plus 2a squared b plus b squared minus 8ab squared. Now I'm going to distribute the minus sign, so I have minus 2ab plus 5a squared b minus a squared plus 6b squared minus 3ab squared. Okay, now I got to look for common terms, and this gets a little tricky here, finding like terms when you have something complicated like this. So we'll start over here. 7a squared. Are there any other a squared terms? And there's one right there. I think that's it. 7a squared minus a squared would give me 6a squared. Okay. Next, I want to look for a b terms. A, b. There's one there. And that's it. Negative 6ab minus 2ab, that's going to be minus 8ab. Now I have a squared b. A squared b, there's one. And that's it. 5 plus 2 is 7, so it's going to be 7a squared b. Next I have a b squared, and then I have another b squared here. 6 plus 1 is 7, so I get 7b squared. And finally I have an ab squared term here and an ab squared term here. Negative 8 and negative 3 are going to give me negative 11, so I have negative 11ab squared. Okay. For a problem like this, I usually recommend method 1 over method 2, because method 2 involves having to line up like terms, which can be kind of tricky, especially when you're subtracting and you also have to change the sign. But I'll try and do it. So we have 7a squared minus 6ab plus 2a squared b plus b squared minus 8ab squared. And now I want to try and line up like terms, but also I want to flip the signs. So first looking for a squared, and I see one here. I'll put a little check underneath it. And I'm going to flip the sign, so it's going to be minus a squared. Next, I'm looking for ab. That's right there. So it'll become negative 2ab when I flip the sign. And then I'm looking for a squared b. That's right there. That'll become positive 5a squared b. Then I'm looking for b squared. That's right there. That'll be positive 6b squared. And lastly, I want an ab squared. That's that one. That'll become negative 3ab squared. And I can add them up. Okay. 7a squared minus a squared is 6a squared. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8, so it'll be negative 8ab. 5 and 2 is 7, so it'll be 7a squared b. 6 and 1 is also 7, so that'll be 7b squared. And negative 8 minus 3 is negative 11ab squared. And once again, we get the same exact thing using either method.